Bishop, yeah, the experts keep telling us that wearing masks is really about protecting ourselves, protecting others from ourselves in the event that we are contagious. But, you know, if other people aren't wearing their masks or they're wearing them improperly, we need to protect ourselves. So experts say you can double up with a tight weave fabric mask for added protection. Now, Virginia Tech researchers found that doubling up these cloth masks increases the efficacy from 50 to 75%. A 3-layer mask could block up to 90% of the particles. And if you're layering your masks, the disposable surgical mask goes on first, and then the tight-fitting fabric mask goes right over the top.
Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Oh, hold on one second. There we go. Much better. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is me, Sergeant Geek, and today we're going to be talking about quite a few things. First up, the obvious, Dr. Fauci with his double mask suggestion going on right now. You saw that clip in the beginning. You know, this is getting really ridiculous. They're talking about 2 and 3 masks, and it's just getting other nonsense. It's the most retarded thing. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to get into some rules to D and not for me, along with these politicians like Maxine Waters, AOC, and the mayor of Tampa, Florida. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Dr. Fauci said.
If you have a physical covering with one layer, you put another layer on, it just makes common sense that it likely would be more effective.
All right, you hear what Dr. Fauci said, it just makes common sense. True, but this whole double masking, triple masking, I said, why go through all the headache? Why waste all the money on buying masks? I decided to bust out my old gas mask. As you can see, this is pretty much the same quality that the Army, the military, and law enforcement uses. Not really showing the rating on my filter there. I know I have some NBC rated filters. Ooh, what the stupid dogs. I have some ratings, some NBC rated filters, but as you can see, it's kind of ridiculous walking around with that. I actually did it one time. I wish I actually put it on video. The one time that I actually walked into a store when they started this whole mandate of mask, I went and I had that in the trunk of my car. So when they told me I needed a mask, they didn't have any masks for me to use there. They said I couldn't walk in unless I had a mask. So just to be an asshole, I went and pulled that out. And the look on people's faces was priceless. People were actually freaking out. They were like, what the hell is this guy? Is it a biological chemical attack? It was too funny. The guy at the register couldn't help but laugh because he was ordered by his boss to make sure I wear a mask, and I was wearing one of the highest quality masks you can get. There was no way Corona was going to get me in that mask. But let's get back to the topic at hand here. All right, here we have from Vice News, the real winners of the Super Bowl could be COVID-19. Because, and as you can see in the picture, they're showing a couple of people not having a mask on. And they say this now, but not too long ago, they had this photo right here. People took to the streets all across the country to celebrate Joe Biden's presidential victory and Donald Trump's loss. Once again, people running around. Nobody said anything. They're running around without masks. They're jumping around. They're celebrating their party. Nobody said nothing. I guess the coronavirus doesn't go to protests. Alright, then we got this from Breaking 911. Breaking. At a press conference Monday, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor said that the maskless fans at the Super Bowl will be identified by law enforcement and that police will handle the situation. And as you can see in the picture, she's wearing a mask, being very PC. But if you take a look over here, we have a picture of her at the Tampa Bay Lightning's game, and lo and behold, she's not wearing a mask. Rules for thee, but not for me. That's the way it goes with these people. So let's take a look at another little comment over here.
Goal of opening up schools swiftly and safely. Could you help us understand what the White House's or what the president's definition of open schools is? Does it mean teachers in classroom teaching students in classroom, or does it just mean kids in classroom with a remote screen? Help us understand.
Sure. His goal that he set is to have the majority of schools, so more than 50%, open by day 100 of his presidency. And that means some teaching in classrooms. So at least one day a week. Hopefully it's more. And obviously it is as much as is safe in each school and local district.
When you say some teaching, you didn't use the same majority qualifier there. You just have to have some teaching in school, some teachers in school, not the majority of teachers in school and the majority of classrooms.
Well, teaching at least one day a week in the majority of schools by day 100.
Okay, and that's in-person teaching?
In-person teaching, yes.
So what she's basically saying there, within 100 days of Joe Biden's presidency, they're going to get the schools to at least have one day of teaching. So in other words, all those teachers that are in Jamaica, Bahamas, Puerto Rico, and in the Caribbean, giving classes from their hotel room as they're on a 1 year long paid vacation, they're going to have to bring the sorry asses back. And from what I understand, teachers are fighting this. They don't want to come back. They're scared of the school. To me, it's just ridiculous. You have a school, you have a job, the teachers don't want to show up, fine, don't show up. But don't be surprised when your monthly check is not there to pay for your extravagant vacation. If I was mayor, governor, or in charge of any of these cities, and these teachers from my school district did not want to attend, I would immediately get online and be looking for other teachers that are willing to teach. And wherever they were at, tell them they can stay there, because that's not helping anything. You got kids isolated at home. You got all kinds of problems going on at home. Not only that, you got the parents that now, especially with younger children, having to spend all kinds of money for babysitters, and if they can't afford babysitters, they have to find ways to make sure that the child's cared for and doing their classwork while trying to maintain a job and put food on the table. This is a ridiculous thing. The schools should be open. Some of the schools are open right now. I know my son has been going to school. We sent him to school, but guess what? As far as I know, the first week that he was going there, it was basically going through the internet still. He would go to class, sit at a desk, open up his laptop, and commence his class. He was there, but the teacher wasn't. It's ridiculous. This whole thing needs to stop. And that's all I'm going to say on it. Now let's go to this whole thing right now. We got the impeachment going on. And they're trying to impeach the president for inciting a riot that happened on January 6th, where a bunch of people stormed the Capitol building. And from what I understand in the news, you can see that it's the riot, the storming of the Capitol building started before President Trump even finished his speech. And the FBI is reporting that this was planned ahead, that at least the day before, as a minimum, was planned ahead. But then you have people like AOC going on the internet talking about how she was warned a week ago. And I find it kind of funny that if somebody like as ditzy as AOC was getting text messages or instant messages saying to be careful around January 6th, she's an officer of the government. She should have brought that to somebody's attention to like say, hey, do we have enough security? I'm getting these internet messages saying that something's going to happen on January 6th. Do we have proper security in place to deal with any situation like that? Nobody said anything. As far as I know of, certain people were requesting additional security and quite possibly a small amount of the National Guard there to be present. They were turned down. My personal opinion is it was turned down for the simple fact is what's going on right now is what they wanted. This is exactly what they wanted. They wanted to fortify Washington, D.C., make sure that it's a show of force with all the National Guard there. They wanted also to make sure that they can find something to impeach Donald Trump on. Now, from my understanding, from all the stuff I've been looking up on the internet, I'm no expert, so don't believe me, do your own research. But I believe they can't impeach Donald Trump because he's no longer the president. And this is what he said. This is the clip of basically what he said.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard peacefully, peacefully, peacefully.
Now you see there, the key word in that clip is he said peacefully. This is not like CNN or MSNBC or any of the other fake media out there that were basically calling everybody mostly peaceful protests with fires behind them. There was no fire behind Donald Trump. There was no people breaking into a mall or to a Tesla dealership or anything like that. Everybody there seemed peaceful while he was saying this. But at the same time he was saying this, people are already making their way down to the Capitol building. And from, like I said, from a lot of videos that I've been watching, apparently it's 1.8 miles, almost 2 miles to get to the Capitol building. Now, in the military, I'm pretty sure they changed it now, but back when I was in the military, we had a PT test, a physical fitness training test. We had to run 2 miles. Now, watching people run the 2 miles, and these are in shape, physically fit military soldiers, they were not running 2 miles in less than 2 minutes. There's no way. They're saying that these people went 1.8 miles and joined in on this storming within 10 minutes. Because from what I understand, it's about 10, 11 minute difference from when they first started storming the Capitol building to when President Trump's speech has ended. So, not even, unless he's an Olympic athlete, he's not running 2 miles in under 10 minutes. And I find it kind of funny because all this stuff going on, and if you don't believe me, go ahead, go online, Google all this stuff, get on YouTube, take a look, see for yourself, make your own conclusions. I'm not here to tell you what to believe and what not to believe. I'm just putting out my opinion and how I see it. That's all this is. But they want to impeach Donald Trump for that. They're trying to put maximum penalties on these people that stormed the Capitol building. And like I said, I don't agree with what happened on January 6th, and those who did break the law should be punished and fined. Now, with that being said, they should be fined and punished the same way the protesters from the mostly peaceful protests were fined. Give them a ticket, give them a summons, and send them on their happy way. Because these gentlemen, all summer long, were destroying, vandalizing, and burning down cities. And when apprehended by the police, they were basically given a summons, given a ticket, and no later than 24 hours, released back on the street to continue doing carnage. So, in the same spirit, since the Democrats felt that was good for them, that should be taking place for the people on January 6th. Once again, rules for thee, but not for me. And why wasn't this person punished?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House. But I know that this won't change anything.
Basically, making comments of blowing up the White House Why wasn't she arrested? I can tell you why. Nobody took Madonna seriously for the longest time before this. So nobody was taking her serious when she said this. She was saying it out of anger because her candidate lost. And that's fine. You know, it's just weird how everything's going and is being turned around. All the stuff that happened 2016 and how the Democrats handled it and said the election was stolen. Hillary Clinton went on the news and said that. Before Donald Trump was even inaugurated, they were already talking impeachment. And the man went through hell for 4 years. Now 2020 comes up, the 2020 election comes up. Once again, now instead of the Democrats, it's Republicans calling foul. And here you can kind of see, a lot of people can kind of see it. You got people signing sworn affidavits stating that they saw some irregularities. But now the Democrats, who for 4 years were saying that the election was rigged and all this, now they're saying, no, you couldn't rig the election. The election is not rigged. There's no way. That's impossible. They're saying that now because Biden won. Now, if for some reason Trump would have won, I guarantee they would have been screaming foul. But since their candidate won, there's no problems here. Like I said before, past videos, they should have done the audit to the election votes. They should have went through and did the transparency to make sure everything was on the up and up. This way, all it would have did was fortify Biden's victory. If he had won legitimately, like they're claiming he did, there would have been no doubt in anybody's mind. We could have put this past us, and we could have moved forward as a country. The simple fact is that they don't want to do that. Is telling in and of itself. But let's go on. They're trying to impeach Trump. So what about Maxine Waters when she said this?
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Now there you go, Maxine Waters basically inciting violence almost. Because what happened when she said this? I think it was Sanders or a couple of other Republicans that were in restaurants, and people started surrounding them and basically yelling, shouting, and scaring the bejesus out of them. Now whether any violence happened, I don't know. I didn't really look too much into it, but as you can see there, she's riling up her base to go take action. That's what she's doing. She's not saying protest. She's not saying march down the street. She's inciting them to take physical action against other people. Now, to me, that's inciting violence. But according to the New York Post, Representative Maxine Waters denies encouraging violence against Republicans. Really? That's not what I saw in the video clip. I saw in the video clip her inciting action, which will almost definitely lead to violence. And then you also have PolitiFacts backing that claim. No, Representative Maxine Waters didn't say Trump supporters are not welcome here. Well, technically, she didn't say that. But she was saying the cabinet office. She was basically saying our elected officials. So, they're kind of right, but they're skating that line. They're really skating the line on whether or not it's truthful or not. But she was inciting action. And that action would almost definitely lead to violence. And if anybody who can't see that is ignorant. Now, let's go on to my favorite chucklehead, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or as known lately, Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett. Now, everybody watch, or a lot of people, because you can see there's a lot of stuff out there with the her video, the Instagram video of her version of what happened on January 6th. And there's a tweet out there. Now, why she ain't seeing any reprimand for this, I don't know. But a New York Post reporter tried to get on record, and this is what she said.
Tweeting that he tried to have you murdered at Capitol.
Okay,
Capitol, right?
So that's not the quote,
okay.
and I will not apologize for what I said.
Guys, I think we're actually done this morning. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Alright, so there you go. You see in the video the double talk that politicians do all the time. And being that AOC is pretty much new to the game, she learns pretty fast. Because here in that little clip, she denies ever saying that. And then she says she will not apologize for what she said. So when I first heard this, I said, well, which one is it? Did you say it and you don't apologize for it? You're standing your ground on it? Or are you a sniveling little coward and you said it thinking that you're going to have the backing and support of your many followers, but realize you're getting the backlash of it, and now you're being cowardly and saying, oh, I didn't say it. When everybody, I mean so many people have seen it. It's unreal. Look at the retweets, look at the likes. It's out there. It's probably, I'm almost certain at least 10 million people have seen it based on the Twitter 10-to-1 ratio on tweets. So I'm pretty sure at least 10 million people have seen this thing. It's out there, and out of 10 million people, I guarantee at least 100,000 of them screenshotted it because they knew it was going to be used later on because of the way AOC is. She is nothing but a straight liar. She has joined the Democratic Party full force and is full of shit. But that's the way it is. So let's take a look at this real fast. This is the tweet right here. I'm happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground. But you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. I'm happy to work with almost any other GOP that aren't trying to kill me. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can resign. Now, that's the tweet that AOC sent to Ted Cruz. And as you can see on the bottom, the retweets, you got over 136,000. Quoted tweets, you got it at 35,000, and likes, you got 794,000 likes. And like I said, probably about 10 million people seen this. Did Ted Cruz set AOC up to die? Was there something that I'm not aware of? Because it wasn't January 6th, because she was never in real danger. As much as AOC wants to hire Industrial Light and Magic, Disney, and Lucasfilms to try to take what actually happened and turn it into some life-threatening event and have it directed by Michael Bay with all his explosives, it's not gonna happen. Her life is not an action. That night was not an action movie. It was more like a foreign romance movie. One of those chick flicks that your girlfriend drags you to see and makes you waste money on. Boring as hell, and you probably fell asleep through it. It wasn't like it was a Michael Bay, Transformers, Star Trek type thing like that. But that's AOC. And like I said, we need to make some changes in our government. And the way we make changes is we need to go and we need to vote these people out. Like I told you, we got HR 127 that Sheila Jackson Lee's trying to pass through, sneak through, and if it hits Biden's desk, the man senile, he's gonna sign it thinking he just won the raffle, or he's signing his kid's permission slip to go to the field trip to the history museum or something. If that bill makes it to his desk, it's gonna get signed. I already showed you on other videos what's in that bill. You also got Rubio once again every year he tries to pass that, the red flag law. And if you guys don't know what the red flag law is, basically, it's something like the HR 21, but not as bad. What this one is, say if I was arguing with my neighbor and my neighbor wanted to get back at me, he can call it in and saying that I threatened him with a firearm. Now they would come over here, remove my firearm. I'm not sure 100%. I think they notify you that you've been that an accusation's been put against you, and they have about 14 days to reply to take you to court to determine whether or not you are a threat. Now, if I was a real threat, why would they leave me 14 days? With or without my guns. I'm not sure how it is. I gotta read into a little bit more. But whether or not you leave me with or without firearms, if I'm deemed a threat to somebody, why would you leave me alone for 14 days before you decide to take me to court to determine whether or not I'm a threat? If it was my neighbor, and if I was a threat, why wouldn't I go over there with a kitchen knife or a hammer from the toolbox or whatever I got handy, a piece of pipe, crowbar, the stand for this camera? It's just a way of getting guns away from people once again. And like I said, you need to call your local congressmen, your local politicians, and you need to let them know that this will not stand. You got all these politicians, you watch a lot of these videos on YouTube, Democrats are always saying, the one thing Democrats are always saying is that if our founding fathers knew about today's guns, they would have never put the Second Amendment in. And my opinion on it is this. Our founding fathers were not stupid men. They knew slavery was eventually going to be done with. They knew advances in technology. They knew this stuff. They knew people were making and inventing better things. That's why in the Declaration of Independence, they don't say white man, they don't say light-skinned man, they don't say English man or Frenchman. They say we the people. They basically said everybody, because they knew one day we would come together and we would end slavery, and that would be the end of it. So they wanted to make sure that those people in the future were included in the Declaration of Independence. And the reason why the Second Amendment's there is to protect the First. Now, like I said, politicians always tell you, well, if they knew about today's guns, they would have never put that. The founding fathers knew that firearms would advance. They knew this. They wanted to make sure that the civilians had the same military-grade weapons as the government. Back in the day, people had warships. Back in the day, people had cannons. It was part of the Second Amendment. They wanted to make sure that the government didn't have the superiority over the people, but the government were subjected to the people, and by making sure that we were armed equally effectively as the military for the government, that the people that we put in government would have to listen to us, because if they try to take over the country from us, we were able to fight back and get our country back. So all this nonsense about it is for hunting and all this other crap is a lie. And the simple fact is that they're trying to take guns away so strong right now should let you know what they have in plan. I said it before. Right now they got big tech shutting everybody down. And take a look at this. This is something that I just thought of yesterday while I was on Facebook. Yesterday I got hit up on Facebook Messenger about 20 times, and you look at the pictures, you see it's all these beautiful girls, how you doing, da 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 da. They're all scammers on Facebook trying to get me to buy them gift cards without ever meaning, oh, I want you, we can be together, da da da, give me a gift card. You report these people to Facebook, nothing happens. I reported about 200 of them. Nothing ever happens. they stay there, or these people go and they create a new profile, and you can tell, and anybody out there that might get fooled by these people, almost 99% of their profile pictures have those little squares, like, you know, the facial recognition identifier squares. If they had those on the pictures, that means this person was using some sort of facial recognition to search the internet for the same facial profiles for as many photos and videos as he can, so he can use them to build the profile on Facebook to try to get you and your money separated. So if you see those squares around the photos, that's a tall tale sign right there. Another tall tale sign is most of these people would have profiles that are no older than a couple of days, maximum a month. 9 times out of 10, those people are scammers. Another thing you can try, I've tried it with a bunch of them, because they're gonna try to get you to go to WhatsApp, or they're gonna try to pull you off Facebook to go to another app to text. And they're always saying that it's better, blah, 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 blah. I downloaded the WhatsApp. And I also use the Facebook for some of them. The first thing I do is I try to video chat them. Whenever you try to video chat them, connection is real bad, if you can even get through. And you'll never see the person on the other side. It's always some excuse. So Facebook doesn't do anything about that, but anybody who says anything bad about politics can be banned. So, like I said, we need to make sure that we call our congressmen and our senators on their actions in office. If you don't like what they're doing, make sure they know about it. Make sure they know you will be replaced come next election if you do not do what we want you to do. Now, I know this is kind of a little bit of a long video, guys, and I do apologize about that, but this is stuff I had to get off my chest, let you guys know. I'm gonna be putting out 2 more videos sometime today, as long as I don't get called into work. But once again, this is Sergeant Geek, and I'm signing off.